Welcome to the channel where we teach advanced level preparedness and how to improvise, adapt, and overcome. So you're looking at one of those common household things. It's just a kid's toy. Hopefully you got a kick out of the thumbnail picture. I am going to show you not only the most important invention of our civilization's period on Earth, but I'm also going to show you how you can use those basic everyday items to your advantage in a grid down or after SHTF situation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this unit. I'm going to keep all the parts that we're going to need and use, and the rest of it I'll just put off to the side. I don't have a lot of space on my table, so let me go ahead and get this thing disassembled, and I'll see you right back here to start telling you about that most important invention. Welcome back. So they say one man's trash is another man's treasure, and that certainly is true. And while the star of the show today is going to be this, I'm going to real briefly go over the rest of the stuff you see here on the table and tell you about intended uses for them. So first off, we'll start with the big stuff. You see the wheels here. You might wonder, well, what in the heck are you going to use those on? Well, I have got a rather nice Charbroil grill outside. I think the thing was between $2,000 and $3,000 when it was new, and it needs a burner kit put in. I need to replace the burners. I didn't have the funds to do that this summer. However, one of the problems with it is the wheels. Two of the wheels on the bottom are broke, which makes it impossible to move around. We have a black walnut tree, and you know what kind of mess those can make. And so I am actually going to put larger wheels on that grill, and probably going to use these right here. So nice little steering mechanism. Probably won't need that, although I will make it. I will likely use the whatever you want to call them that are holding the wheels, like the axles and the little L-shaped bracket there. I will likely use that because I will want one of the sides to be able to turn to make it easier to move. So that's actually what I'm going to be using those for. Let me get those out of the way there and continue on. Right here you are looking at a 6-volt battery. I don't know if it's any good. I'm going to try to desulfate it and see if I can revive it. As it stands, I was able to put a little bit of a charge on it, but it's not really capable of holding enough of a charge even to run that motor. So gonna try to revive that, and if I can't, into the trash it will go. So this was a little brace that went under the foot pegs. It's not a bad little brace there, and most likely I will find a use for it. So I will hang on to that. Little screws and wire tie hold down and all that stuff. I always save this stuff, and I have a bunch of little bags like this, and the reason why is because when I work on things or when I take them apart, I always use these little bags to be able to put the screws in, because there is nothing like having a container of nuts, bolts, and screws that you can go to whenever you need something like that. So that's what I do with those. This is a 6-volt LED light and diffuser. This was the headlight on the front of it, and it is, once again, 6-volt. Your bigger units are going to be 12-volt. This is for the smaller kids, so it's a 6-volt unit. They are LED lights, so polarity is important. But as you can see, with the simple 18650 battery, I can power that light. And I'm sure you can think of a ton of uses for a light like this. So set that off to the side. I have some wire connectors here. Connectors are always a good thing to have on hand. You can never have enough connectors. And then this is obviously a barrel jack, and so a male barrel jack. So I will be, I'm sure, using that in something. They are very, very, very handy. So put that off to the side. This here is what they call a normally open push button switch. That's all it is. Push it, whatever it's connected to turns on. When you let go, it turns off. So they are always handy for different projects. A little bit of heat shrink tubing that went on the wires. And lastly, we have this little gem right here. This is going to be the electric motor and gear reduction drive. And there is a gazillion uses for something like this. And it is 6 volts, but you can power it with a simple single 18650 battery if you can push the wires around far enough. There you go. So even a single 18650 battery, and here, let me put that up to the microphone where you can hear the amount of force. That sucker is strong. I'm sure there are many uses for that. And folks, that's a 6-volt motor. 6-volt motor. This could be used for a number of things, right? So here's the other cool thing. We're going to cover a lot of different types of motors in this video series. However, we're going to start with the most prevalent, at least has been for a long time. The DC brushless motors are becoming very popular and now being used in a lot of products. However, the old DC brushed motors are definitely a gem to have. So let me show you something interesting. You've seen me run this motor with this little battery. Let me show you something here. If we hook up this light to the motor, once again, LED, so making sure our polarities are correct. We're just going to hook up that light to that motor. And let's see what happens when I spin the motor. Ah, nothing if the wire comes loose. We'll try that again. You see that? We just turned that little kid's toy DC brushed motor, it's important that it's a brushed motor, DC brushed motor, into a generator. Isn't that interesting? Again, a 6-volt motor. You know what else this can be used for? You can actually use this to, say, charge a mobile device like a phone or a tablet. Okay, I would definitely use what they call a voltage regulator so that you wouldn't go over the 5 volts needed to charge your mobile device. However, it can most certainly be used for that. So as you can tell, there are a ton of different projects that I can work on just from simply rescuing a kid's toy out of the trash, because that's where I got it. Rescuing a kid's toy out of the trash, taking it apart, and using the components on projects that will work for you. Being able to do this is imperative after the grid goes down or in an SHTF type of situation, because you're going to have to think outside of the box, and you're going to have to be able to use whatever it is that you have around you. And so that is the entire point behind what I am trying to teach people. And we're going to go from the start to the end. I am going to build a simple single wire, single coil motor with you and show you how to do that. And then I will actually build a motor that's a little more advanced, that has multiple coils in it, field coils in it. And we're going to cover all that. We're going to get into all that. Then we're going to get into the DC brushless motors, and I'm going to explain how those work and how those can be especially handy. There's a lot of good stuff you can do. Without a doubt, the best, most important invention in our civilization's history is the electric motor. There is no two ways about it. Our lives would be so much harder today without that ingenious little device. So come on back, watch the rest of the series. Hopefully you learn from it. Hopefully I can help teach you how to think outside of the box and use everyday items to your benefit in a very bad situation. Shalom.